to give you one tool that you can use for team strengths. I'll show you a few places where you can get that tool and you can start right away. Here's the situation. You work with a team. Let's say you're a member of a team or you run a team. Either way, when you're working with a team, different people have strengths in different areas. Now, just as a shortcut, we have lots of videos specifically on strengths. Just as a shortcut, strengths are those things that when people do, two things happen. One is they are better at what they do, and two is they are happier. So I've just summed up tons of research for you in a quick sort of a capsule size truth, which is when people are doing what are their strengths, two things happen. They are better at what they do, they're more productive, more effective, more efficient, and they're happier. They're better and they're happier at what they're doing. Given that, so let's take that for granted, because that's a whole field of study and it's an amazing field and we have lots of content on that, and just message me if you'd like to know more. But given that people are both happier when they're using their strengths and they're actually better at their work, given that, wouldn't it be amazing if within a team, let's say a team of 5 people or a team of 300 people, if more people could use their strengths? That way they're all being as possibly productive for the company as possible and they're happier. All right, let's take that as the assumption for today's session. Today's session is on team strengths. I'm going to give you one model for team strengths. The model that I'm using happens to be in an appendix at the back of our book. Margaret Greenberg and I have written this book, Profit from the Positive. And at the back, I'll even tell you the exact page number, in Appendix C on page 180, so sort of think of this as an 180-degree change in your view about team strengths. On page 180, we have team strengths. So here are 4 possible leadership domains. Let me just show you the cover topics. You could be in work, you could be executing, influencing, relationship building, or you could be doing strategic things. And then, so I'll get into what's underneath that. So let's talk about those categories first. You could be executing, getting things done. You could be influencing, which is getting more resources, influencing for people to take action. You could be doing relationship building, or you could be doing strategic. So let's just have a few things in the comments, even among those 4 that I've mentioned right here. And I'll put them up as a banner so you can see them. Which one are you most like? So do you go out and get stuff done? That would be executing. Do you go out and influence? Do you relationship build? Do you do more strategic? All right, we're getting some comments. Yes, so which one are you? And as you do this, I will just put this up. So executing, we've got influencing, we've got relationships, I'll just call it relationships. And finally, we have strategy. So if you think about yourself, what do you tend to do the most of? Because if we think about team strengths, we really need to start to think, where are we the strongest? In which category? And really just think about, what do you love to do? What lights you up? Is it getting things done? Is it executing? Is it influencing and having those discussions about getting things done with others? Is it relationships and building those? Or is it high-level strategy? So let's see what some of your comments are. All right, so some of you are saying it depends on the situation. Absolutely, it does depend on the situation. I agree with you. But if you just even step back and take a breath, which one do you tend to do? And we can summarize these. So I've kind of used the technical terms, executing, influencing, relationship, and strategy. We can also call these getting things done, talking to others, building relationships, or strategy. Getting things done, talking to others to get things done, relationships, and strategy. So let me know which ones you are. And as we do that, this is step 1. Step 1 is looking at these categories and also recognizing, where are you? As you think about anything that you're trying to make a change in, whether it's a better exercise program or eating healthier, the first step is recognizing, where are you? So where are you on these? Now, again, I'm just pulling up the reference from the book, but on these 4 categories, and within these, there are certain strengths from StrengthsFinder that give you a little bit more detail on what they can be. So first step is, where are you in these 4 categories? Second step is, where are your peers, or where are your team members? And I'll tell you what's happened when I've done this. So let me get really specific. When, somebody is saying, look, high-level strategy person here. Wonderful, Tina, thank you. Another person is saying, I'm a building relationships person here and maintaining them, the glue of the team, especially when strained. So for example, oh, sorry, I just went out of focus here. Let me get focus back so I'm talking to you normally. I should be back. Hello. This is what happens when you show a book on your program. Hello, program. All right, so we've got some people that are strategy and we've got some people that are relationships. Let me make a suggestion to you. That person who said strategy and that person who said relationships, it may be effective for the two of you to work together. And I know you don't know each other and you're even coming in through two different platforms. But what I'm trying to convey is there's something, as an individual, you really should highlight your strengths. And again, you'll be better at the thing that you're doing and you'll be happier. But as a team, you should be more well-rounded to be able to approach projects in this multifaceted, highly cohesive way. So if you want to be multifaceted, highly cohesive, try to get all of those categories going. So first step, observe where you are in these, and you're already doing that. Second step, ask your team. Literally, you could put up this Appendix C from our book. You could grab it in a few different places. It's the 4 leadership domains. And ask your team, ask your family, ask the people you work with, where are you, to find out from other people. Now, I'll tell you what happens when I did this with a team that I was working with, an intact team. Here's exactly what happened. We got, let me try to remember, I think it was about 5 to 7 people. We got them together and they saw that all of them were on the executing side. So people were not doing influencing, they were not doing relationship building, they were not doing strategy, they were all on the executing side. What do you think happened? What kind of thing do you think happened if everybody is focused on executing? There were a lot of things done, but sometimes some of those things would have to be redone because the strategy piece wasn't always as connected. Or there were a lot of things done by the people on the team, but not as much by other people in other silos that they could influence or with whom they had relationships. This isn't bad. I'm not saying executing is bad. I'm a big fan of getting things done and executing and moving actions forward in business. And at the same time, if you were thinking about how this team could move even faster and not need to redo the work that they executed on, how could you get a little more roundedness? I don't know, is that a word? Roundedness. How could you get a little more roundedness around executing and influencing and relationships and strategy? That's it. That is literally my summary to you today. It is 3 actions. One is look at categories. I happen to love these 4, but it could be any 4 categories that encompass a lot of the things that a team needs to do. Look at the categories, find out where you are in them. So first, map yourself. Literally, like put your GPS point within this map. Next, map other people. And now I'm going to zoom out and give you a big eye view of this 3-step process. So what you've done is you've looked at categories, you've mapped yourself, and then mapped other people. And then it's a discussion. So once you've done these 3 things, what do we want to do? What's the point of having mapped our team strengths? Well, when we take on a new project, do we really want to ask Joe to come in and do this? Do we want to ask Nihir to come in and do this? Because they have strengths in this. And I have seen teams do this amazingly. Once they've gone through their team strengths and they have a new project come up, they'll actually map out who is energized about doing this part of the work. Put them on that. And people say yes, they raise their hand completely because they are energized by that. Let's say it's the beginning of a project or getting all the specs of a project. People get energized by different things. And it's funny because we all think that other people are to some degree like us. So if I get energized, for example, by writing down specs, I think, oh, well, why should I raise my hand for that? Everybody will want that one. No, not everybody will want that one. I'll give you my own example. I get energized by high level, by strategy things. So I think, oh, everybody thinks at that level first before they think detail or how to do things or processes. No, not everybody thinks at what are the biggest ways we can connect 5 different ideas. No, not everybody thinks that way. And I don't think that way all the time. All right, so to come back to our process for today, we've got that we have an outline. We have where do we map our own strengths on that outline? Where do we map other people's? And then let's just take an example of this. So this is an intact team. Just take a bird's eye view. You don't even need to see a lot of things. This is actually very similar to the example that I just gave you, which is, look, a lot of people, these not real people, Maureen and Jim and so on, they have categories in executing, a lot in executing, but they just don't have as much in the other categories. At the same time, some people have a lot in this category of strategic thinker. So as you start to map it out, It's a little bit like becoming aware of something that is in little pockets and that we're not aware of cohesively at a team level. So once we become aware of it, then it becomes more second nature. Then when projects come up, we may give, we may offer, and people may grab onto things that they're energized by. But after that, the next phase is this becomes just a way, a language, a way that your team speaks together. So in conclusion, I have two comments for you. One is, what are your takeaways so far about using team strengths, about getting teams together to talk about what their individual strengths are? And as you give me your takeaways so far, I'll summarize with, team strengths can make people much more energized about their jobs. So why not do it? When you look at team strengths deliberately, thoughtfully, explicitly, you're allowing people to find their niche, to find where they're adding value, and not just find it, but actually share it with others. And when you do that, you're going to find everyone comes much more alive. So I encourage you to play with it, to experiment with it. We're all about experimenting and playing. Have fun, enjoy, and we wish you all the best.